Welcome to the Nurtured Nerds Epic Podcast.
Come join us and get cuddly, get gaming, get nerdy,
And get nurtured.
nurtured.
I'm Alyssa, the creator of Nurtured Nerds Community Project. I am a cuddle therapy practitioner and a connection coach. And yeah, I'm also a bit of a gamer nerd. Still getting into that, still getting into both of those things, really. And I have a different and lovely co-host today. Jo, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Jo. I'm currently based in Perth, in Western Australia, but I'm originally from the UK, from England. And yeah, I've been a professional cuddler for a few years and boundaries coach, and just, yeah, loving the journey. And I also have a little secret to let everyone know that I don't class myself as a nerd.
An imposter.
Because the story is growing up in England, I guess the word nerd wasn't really that popular. To me, it's more of an American word, the word nerdy, and so I wasn't in the nerdy group in school, so I don't really class myself as a nerd, and I'm not really sure too much about it, but I'm very excited to be here and to
we're excited to have you here,
guys. So thanks for having me. Thank you so much.
you. It's an honor to have you co-hosting with me for this episode. Yeah, so today we will be interviewing a professional cuddler and a Nurtured Nerds podcast co-host. In case you couldn't guess who it was, I'm sure you'll figure it out, but we will reveal our guest to those just listening and not seeing the video. We'll reveal our guest in a few minutes. And we'll share some stories, talk about nerdy things, and just things that we love, things that we're up to, and cuddly things, of course. And we'll let you know what's going on in our community right now. The biggest thing is we have a member raffle coming up. The deadline to apply for Nurtured Nerds community membership is May 28th, and we'll announce the winner on June 1st. The prize for that raffle is a Nurtured Nerds care package, and we'll give more details about that later. But for now, it's time for tea. So today's tea is another Celestial Seasonings holiday tea, caramel apple dream or caramel apple dream. Some people say it that way. Yeah, it's got like there's like this little squirrel town, and like they're riding on a river of caramel and they're riding little apples. Adorable. It has cinnamon, hibiscus, caramel and apple flavors and other natural flavors, orange peel, chamomile, roasted chicory, ginger, and sea salt. It's delicious. And it really does taste like you're eating a caramel apple. So I love it. What about you, Jo? Are you drinking anything right now?
Yes, I am drinking the most amazing smoothie ever. Ever. It's got banana and frozen raspberries, but it's also got some super green powders in there, which I can't remember what they are.
Magic powder.
Magic super.
It's your magic potion.
It's just amazing, with some hemp powder and peanut butter. So I guess it's like a smoothie, but you can't taste that. And some maca, and there's no sugar in it at all, but it tastes really sweet.
Probably the raspberries, right?
Must be.
Although they don't have that much sugar in them. Yeah, it sounds really good.
And because it's still really hot here in Australia, I like to have a smoothie in the morning rather than a hot drink.
Fair enough. And now to reveal our guest, Mary. Mary, what tea are you drinking today? Because you told me earlier you're drinking tea as well.
Yes, I am drinking tea. And here in Salt Lake City, it's actually evening and it's late enough that I am drinking my chamomile tea to get ready for bed after the podcast. So this is a chamomile and lavender tea, and it
Ooh.
smells really good, and it's just really nice to relax with after a day. It's got chamomile, wild orange leaves, passion flower, lavender, red poppy flowers, and rose
Hmm.
flavors.
Red poppy flowers
So,
makes me think of Wizard of Oz and in a poppy field and
yeah.
she
Well,
casts the
hopefully that
sleeping
will
spell.
help me sleep. That's what it's
Yeah.
for. It's the sleep mix. Sleepy time tea. So after this, I get to go to bed. I do think when I drink the chamomile at night, sometimes it does help me sleep. So, well, yeah, thanks for having me on the show as a guest. I'm so excited to talk about me for a change. Yeah,
Because we know nothing about you so far, Mary.
I
Just
never
very
talk about
little.
myself because I'm just so humble.
Well, in that vein, please do tell us a little about yourself, what kind of work you do, what kind of nerd you consider yourself to be. Um, and no problem if you repeat yourself, because I love hearing about it.
Oh, thank you. Uh, so let's see. I work full time as an administrative professional here in Salt Lake. So I have a full time day job. I've been a secretary for more than 25 years. But I office manager, type thing. But on the side, I do cuddle work. So I certified as a cuddle party facilitator in 2014. After I went to my first cuddle party, I just realized I was missing something. And so I went on Meetup and looked for some groups, looked for some connections, and there was another facilitator in Salt Lake, and I saw a cuddle party and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go. So I had actually heard of it like 5 years before and looked it up and saw that there weren't any in Salt Lake. And at that point, I just said, oh, well, there's none in Salt Lake. But this other facilitator, she did the same thing about the same time, but she's like, there's none in Salt Lake. I guess I better make it happen. And I wish that had occurred to me, honestly. But she was amazing. She was a great facilitator and helped me become one pretty quickly. Within about 3 or 4 months after my first one, I just realized I'm like, I want to spread this message and I want to create this community. I want to not depend on other people to do this for me. I wanted to be able to do it for myself. And it has been amazing. And then about a year or two later, I became a certified cuddlist, a professional cuddler as well, to do one-on-one sessions. Because in the cuddle parties, there were a lot of people coming to me for the one-on-one attention. And I thought, well, I'm good at this, and I want to offer it to people outside of the group events. So I did that, and I do see clients once in a while one-on-one, but my main sweet spot is the group events. I love doing cuddle parties. I love doing workshops. I love doing discussions, experiential kind of workshops and things like that. I've done a few of those with eye gazing and exercises and things, and even like doing sexual education talks, discussions. But one thing about me, I realize I don't want to lead sexual events other than discussions. But that's good. I have a niche in the cuddle work and the consent and boundaries training, and I love it. And nobody else is doing that here, so it's great. What else? Oh, what kind of nerd am I? I could talk about that for 5 days probably. I I'm a theater nerd, I'm a knitting nerd. I like to do bird watching, I like to work in the garden. If you're seeing this video, those little cuddle bunnies behind me, I knitted those. I designed those. They're little stuffed bunny rabbits that I knitted. And let's see what else. I don't know. What other kind of nerd am I? Theater. I sang opera for a long time. I do community theater. I like to read science fiction and fantasy, and I like Star Trek, although I consider myself a Trekker, not a Trekkie. I don't know if anybody else has that distinction.
No, please
No?
tell us more about that. What's the
Yeah.
distinction?
So like a Trekkie would be the kind of nerd that would go to the conventions and dress up like a Klingon or get the Spock ears and everything. I don't do that. But I have watched every episode of Star Trek multiple times. Not the newest season, but up through oh shoot, why can't I never remember the one with Scott Bakula? I never remember the name of it. But I've seen that. I've seen
If you know which one she's talking about, put in the comments. School us on Star Trek.
But I have seen all of the other seasons up through that one, probably 4 or 5 times, and I've seen the Scott Bakula seasons at least twice. you'd think I would remember it. What I love about that one is actually the opening where they like put the real space program in, and then they like bridge it up to the, who is the guy, how they have like the first rocket that went out in one of the movies. It starts with a Z. See, so I'm a Trekker. I'm not a Trekkie. I don't know all these things completely, but I am very familiar and I like it a lot. So
Awesome. Sounds like me with
yeah.
Doctor Who.
Mhm. I do like Doctor Who as well. Okay, there's a good fact. I won a Doctor Who trivia contest by myself because my team didn't know anything about it.
Whoa.
It was a pub trivia quiz, and I answered all the answers and I won.
That's amazing. Yeah, maybe we'll start
So,
eventually at some point having Nurtured Nerds watch parties, and we'll get to watch these episodes and geek out about them together.
oh, that'd be fun. We should do trivia party, pub trivia quiz.
Yeah, nerdy trivia. That's great. I love it.
It'd be fun.
All right. Looks like question 2 has already been answered. So I think I'll go to question 3. Oh no, one of the questions I'd like to ask you is, what were your initial impressions of the cuddle party?
You know, I was nervous at first too. I was hopeful and I was really looking forward to it, and I knew what I wanted it to be, but I didn't know if it was going to be that. So I was nervous at my first cuddle party. You know, I didn't know anybody there. I went by myself. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Yeah, I'd done research and I knew what it was supposed to happen. So I was like, if it happens the way that it's supposed to, I was like, this is going to be fabulous. And it was fabulous, but there were a few things that I had to get past. You know, when in my first cuddle party, the people all coupled off really pretty quick because they knew each other. A lot of people had already been to multiple parties, and after the welcome circle, I was feeling really good and I was ready. I was like, oh, let me find, you know, there's several people I'd love to connect with and let me go around, but they had all kind of coupled off. And so I just kind of sat there and said, okay, what do I do?
Oh, there wasn't a buddy bench?
No, we don't. No, Cuddle Party doesn't do Buddy Bench. That's this Cuddle Sanctuary thing, which I love, which I will be putting into my Cuddle Parties. But you know, Cuddle Party lets us do a little bit of tweaking on our, you know, to meet our facilitator flavor as long as we follow the guide. But yeah, I like Buddy Bench and I want to do it, and Solo Salon. But anyway, so people had coupled off, and so I was just kind of lost and I didn't know what to do. But actually now in my welcome circle, I tell people, like, you know, if people are in a group and somebody you want to talk to is already engaged, it's okay to ask the group. Because that was what happened to me in my first couple cuddle parties. I felt like I couldn't disrupt, you know, people who were already together in that, you know, thinking in that couple mentality. But that's not how it is at Cuddle Party. That's not what we do. It's not about couples. It's about people connecting. And so I just say, you know, ask everyone in the group, and if it's okay, they'll tell you. And if you're in a couple and you don't want to be disturbed, tell your real answer, you know. So
it's good practice for both sides of it, for you asking for what you want and for them asserting their boundaries, whether they're yes or no. So
yeah,
that's
I'd
awesome.
say 75% of the time when I see people asking couples if they can join, they're like, oh yeah, come on in, look, I got another shoulder, you know. So, yeah.
Nice.
Great.
Alyssa, do you want to ask the next question?
Oh, sure. Since that wasn't really question 3. Yeah, I think you've talked a bit about this in the past already, but let's dive in a little bit more. What is it like working as a professional cuddler? And not just that, but like that it's your side job and not your, you know, quote unquote main job. And what are some of your favorite experiences you've had in sessions with clients that you can remember?
Okay. Yeah, doing the one-on-one sessions is it's a real special time. And you know, I'm going to admit something I don't really tell people a lot, but I haven't done a lot of one-on-one sessions, but I have done a lot of group work. So sometimes when I'm talking with other professional cuddlers that do this as their their day job, quote, as their main main job. I'm like, I'm sure you've had thousands of sessions, and I'm probably under 50. But I feel like my experience at the groups and with my one-on-one sessions, I do have experience, and it comes and goes for me, because it's the idea of how many spoons have you got, right? And sometimes my day job takes up all my spoons. So I won't do cuddle stuff for 2 or 3 months even. I won't advertise. I won't put out events. Because it is volunteer. I'm not making money at this, to tell you the truth. I have lost money, but I don't do it for money. I take tickets for Cuddle Party, but it doesn't cover my costs usually, and even the sessions that I get don't cover my costs, because I talk to a lot of people, and I have a website, and I have a lot of interaction of people asking me questions that I talk to, and if people want to meet me, I'll meet them for 20 or 30 minutes to talk about this stuff for free. In fact, my intake is free. If people are interested in a session with me, I want to meet them in person to see if we will connect, and if they want to hire me, if I want to be with them. And I know most cuddlers don't do that, but I feel like it's necessary to see somebody face to face to know if we're going to be a good fit. So I will talk to people for free, and all of that takes a lot of time and effort. And there's times I don't want to do it. So I don't.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I know for me, like
yeah.
during the pandemic, like just the added
Mm.
cleaning and safety measures and stuff, like it's a labor of love. It really is.
It
Like,
is,
it's
yeah.
not about the money.
Yeah, and during the pandemic, I've had one client, one session, and then I've done virtual events my last cuddle party was in February, so 14 months ago. My goodness, that's terrible.
Why is it terrible? You're doing it how much works for you, right? Like
That's true.
what we want.
Yeah.
We want cuddlers doing the amount of work that works for them.
Right.
We don't want to, there's not that many of us. We don't want to get burned out, and,
True.
want to be able to show up for ourselves and clients and other people in our lives. So
I guess
commend you for taking care of yourself,
Yeah. I guess I say it's terrible because I would have liked to do more, but the pandemic has made it so that I don't feel it's appropriate. What was was there another part of that question? Did I get it all?
Oh, well, like specific memories from one-on-one sessions with clients. Like, are there any that stand out as like really yummy, or just like some of your favorite memories?
Yeah, there's two that really come to mind. I did have a gentleman that was coming to Cuddle Party that a very nice person, and the women that he cuddled with enjoyed cuddling with him, but he was a boundary pusher. So he'd ask over and over, like, "Can I kiss you?" And the reason I didn't kick him out is because they would say no, and then he wouldn't, but then he would ask again. So it was uncomfortable. But he finally came to me for a one-on-one session where I could give him some real feedback on that, and say, I know you're doing the best you can, and I know people like cuddling with you, and that's what you want. So let me help you so that you can help your partners feel more comfortable, being with you and feeling safe and wanting to be with you. And we talked about it. It's like if you ask and they say no, it's okay to ask once, but if you keep asking, it's uncomfortable. So, and we worked through it in the session, and then he came to later cuddle parties, and it was I could see the difference, and I wasn't getting people telling me that they were uncomfortable or afterwards. And I was like, this is great. If I could just work with them for an hour, and I mean, that changes your whole life, right? If that's his mode, and it's not his fault, because our culture teaches people to do that. Get the sale, keep asking, just keep going, assume it's a yes, and yeah. So it's not his fault that he was like that. That's what he has been taught his whole life, is the way to get what you want. And I was able to work through in the session and help him see that there's a different way, and it worked. So I feel really proud about that. Yeah.
Huge. Yeah, that's absolutely huge. You changed it. You shifted his awareness.
Yeah, I mean, he's a nice guy, and I'm like, I want to help you find, and I know there's people that want to connect with you if you can get past this uncomfortable thing. So,
That's massive. Like, instead of kicking him out and saying, you know, you're just not appropriate, you worked with him.
yeah,
That's massive.
yeah.
Oh, my heart feels like it's exploding right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you
thank
didn't
you.
write him off. Like you had what's called unconditional positive regard, or some people know it as grace. It's like
Yeah,
you trust that they're doing the best that they can, and
right.
you just want to support them in that and support them in getting what they want and meeting their needs. And part of that is, understanding other people's perspective and having empathy for them and their boundaries.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that's really great. That's a good distinction, and how the two can work together, group events and one-on-one.
Hmm.
That's massive.
Definitely. So I really liked having being able to do the two modalities to help my, my clients and my people that come to my group parties. And yeah, it's been good to have that to offer. Like I like to say, I have all the tools in my toolbox. I like to be able to do that. So that was a really good one.
Well, you've actually answered the next question, so that is fantastic. So,
I'm skipping ahead, I guess. I'm not treating though. I'm not looking, so I don't know.
I think you just are a little, like you said, psychic. You just, you know what we're gonna ask.
I think our producer just asked really good questions because he wrote the outline and he knows me by now. So
Good job, Vita. You write
yes,
great outlines. Thank you so much.
definitely.
so let's go on to, what does the process of facilitating an event look like for you? What are the major contrasts between virtual and in-person events?
Yeah, so facilitating an event, the setup is all the work behind the scenes that you have to do before you can get to the event. And you have to find a host. You have to figure out, are you going to take donations or charge tickets? Is the host deciding on the invite list or not? Is it going to be open to the public? Am I going to announce it, or are they just inviting people? All that stuff. So I usually will meet with the host and check out their space if I haven't been there before. I like to host at people's houses. That's my favorite. Although I have rented spaces before, but hosting at houses is the best. But I always go to their place to check it out and see how it feels and talk to them and see if they know what they're getting into. and how they want to run the party, what their boundaries are around having people in their home.
I find myself looking around my apartment and being like, from your perspective, being like, I wonder what Mary would think.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a feeling. I've actually only had to turn down one prospective host just because it was really cluttered in his place. And I was like, if we could clear it out, I mean, it just feels like claustrophobic, and I'm sorry, but I can't have it here. And he had a lot of animals, so it was animal hair everywhere, and a lot of people are allergic.
Yeah.
But
No, for me, like there's several things in the the common area of my apartment that I move into my room, because I have, for right now, I have in-person sessions on my balcony. And so I clear out that common area and my bathroom. Like there's some stuff I normally keep in my bathroom that I put in my room. So just as clutter-free as possible. And that's just for one person. And part of that is the pandemic and making it easier to clean and keep things clean and minimize like surfaces that could have particles on them and all of that. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like you really gotta change your space, transform it for the purpose.
Yeah, and you want to feel the space. Have you done group events, Jo?
No.
No?
No,
Okay.
I'm not a Cuddle Party facilitator.
Yeah, I just like to feel like it's a welcoming, freeing space that has that kind of energy that I'm looking for a cuddle party. We did rent a place in a church for a while, and it was a really good space to do our events in. But one night I found out 2 days before the event that they were going to hold a funeral the same night in the chapel, down the way. They had, it wasn't actually a chapel, but their big, huge meeting room that they used for a chapel. And so they were having a funeral, 100 feet through walls away from us, and we were in a little small classroom. And I was like, well, that should be fine because we won't be going out. I mean, we might be going to the restroom. It shouldn't disrupt. but the feeling of
Yeah,
having
the energy of it.
the
getting-
energy of the funeral there, we have some empaths in our group, and they really felt it, and they had to leave.
Oh,
It was a downer. It was a total downer cuddle party. And I mean, it's not like we could have anticipated it. Somebody died and they had to schedule a funeral, but it's like, oh, I do not recommend that. Yeah.
And I guess it depends on how big the space is that you're going to be in, how many
Mhm.
people you can then allow in. So do you have like a boundary cutoff of how many attendees can come, like 6 or 8 or whatever, depending on the size?
Yeah. So my sweet spot is like 12 to 20, honestly. Fewer than 12 is difficult. It's a lot more work for me as a facilitator to try to connect people when there aren't as many to choose from. So having more people to choose from to find a good connection is always better. But then I've also done cuddle parties with, I think like 38 was the most I had at one, and that was too many. That was also a lot of work. I had trouble with that many, trying to watch them and hold space and feel like I had any control over it at all. So like up to around 20 is a really good amount for me. I usually cap my parties at 25, in perfect times, and then a few people don't show up, so it works out really well.
What do you put on the floor? Is it mattresses or cushions, or how do you set the space up? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I have mats that I bought that are great. They're trifold mats and they're actually quite comfortable. So I bring those. And then we have an actual real cuddle community here that has built up that loves coming to cuddle parties, and other people have bought mats and they bring them. This is something a lot of people don't realize, that repeat people are coming and they've met there and they become friends and they know each other, and it's a real community, and we've built like this community. We have a Facebook group where they interact and they do things together, and we have people that are friends, they have play dates with their kids, we've built a real, and we call it that, this is our cuddle community. So we have people that like to come a lot, and they bring some more mats and fluff with them, because I can only fit 4 in my car. Yeah, so we set that all out and get some pillows and push the couches to the side. So that I like to sit on the floor for the opening circle, but I do set out a few chairs because we do have some older people, including me now, don't like to sit on the floor anymore. But we've got to have room for a circle so that we can all see each other. That's really important.
Yeah. Have you done any virtual group events or just virtual one-on-one? Like, how is that?
Yes, I've done multiple group events, and it is very different. It was hard. I didn't want to do it at first, honestly, but I was like, if I'm going to do anything, I have to learn how to do virtual events right now. And I did have a lot of good group events. I went to one of Jean's events and learned a lot from her of what to present in a group event. And I did ask her permission, and she said yes, that I could use her content. So thank you, Jean Franzblau from Cuddle Sanctuary. She's awesome. And so that helped me like get an example of what to do. And I did use some things from her presentation, and then I developed some other things that I like to do that I just feel like connects the group of people that are on. And I have that kind of formalized workshop event, and then I did a bunch where I was like, just come on and let's talk, let's chat, let's just have a chat. And that worked too. Whoever wanted to come on just came on and we talked, and that was fun. And
oh, I feel sad that I missed them. Where did you advertise them?
When did I what?
Do you still do them, or where do you advertise them?
I could still do them. I haven't done one in a while, but yeah, I did put a few up on our Facebook Business of Cuddling page, and a few of our cuddlers came, and that was awesome to have them there. Yeah. So yeah, and I was trying to encourage people like who are professional cuddlers who are doing events to advertise there, so that we can get our colleagues to come and we can learn from each other. So that was good. But mostly I have a meetup group, and so I just mostly post it in the meetup group and on our Utah Cuddle Club Facebook page. But yeah, I should do another one. It's been a while since I've done one, but again, it's that, am I feeling it right now? So.
Yeah, that's super important
Mhm.
because I mean, if you don't want to be facilitating, you don't really want to be there doing that, like people can sense
Mhm.
that and
Yeah,
they
that's
might
true.
close down and
Mhm.
yeah. Something that I just thought of was I've I've heard of other practitioners like attempting to at least somewhat gender balance their events, that they find that like a lot of times it'll be only men, so that sometimes they'll do women only events because women will feel
Mhm.
safer. Like, have you had any experience with that?
I tried to do a couple women only events on the idea that women might feel safer coming, and nobody came. So I don't gender balance. I don't really try. I mean, I did try a little bit in the beginning when I saw that might be a little out of balance. I might issue some individual invitations. That didn't work either. So I'm like, why am I doing all this work? It's just not worth it. So when people ask me about gender balancing, I'm like, no, I don't, because I don't believe in it, first, and second, it's impossible. Because when you're coming to Cuddle Party, it's about connecting with other human beings. And even if you're not sexually attracted to somebody, you can still have a connection. And some of the most beautiful connections I've seen at Cuddle Party have been between two men. And I'm like, I really wish people would be more open to that kind of a thing. Like I've seen two guys just like back to back and talking all night, and it's like I found my brother, or I just love,
Oh,
yeah.
that's so
And
great.
it is, yeah. And I've seen guys have told me like it's so amazing to just like hug another guy and not worry about all that, what somebody might be thinking about me, or homophobia or whatever, just connect with another person. And I'm like, even if there's not anybody that you want to cuddle there, there's going to be somebody that you can have a good conversation with there. So I hope people can have an open mind and believe that. And also I just tell them, you know what, and I will be there. So I love to hug people. So that's worth it by itself, right?
Mm. I'm really glad I asked
Uh,
that question. That was really good.
oh, good. Yeah.
In that same thread, like more about gender and cuddling, there seems
Mhm.
to be more female practitioners and male clients than there are male practitioners and female clients. And like, just what are your thoughts about that, about why that is, or your personal experience with
Mm.
that dynamic or that, you know,
Yeah. I think that is true. I think there are more female practitioners, but there are male practitioners too. They're not that hard to find. They are around and they're great in our community. And the I think that men are more accustomed to being able to think of connection in a transactional way, whereas women think of it more as a personal friendship thing, that they wouldn't think of like as something you would actually go out and try to find for yourself. Is just something that happens. So there's that difference. And I have had female clients, but yeah, I've had more male clients. I just feel like in cuddling and connection that gender just really isn't. I mean, it is. It's always a factor, obviously, but it's not as much. It doesn't have to be a factor if you don't let it, as much as people think. Did that make any sense at all?
yeah, because it's not about sexual attraction or
Right.
compatibility. It's about, like you said, human connection and
Yeah.
compatibility.
It's about human connection and human holding space for another person, helping them feel safe. And I think none of that really has to do with gender. So I just, people ask me those kind of questions all the time, but I'm just like, come and try it, and you'll find out that it really isn't. It isn't as important as you think it is, and you will be able to find someone to connect with. And some of my female clients have been really beautiful to just help them have the space to let go and release and be themselves. And women need that too. And more women have been contacting me lately, which I think is a good trend, because they're starting to realize this is a thing that they need too. Um, but also women are better at doing that for each other, just with friendships and families. So they may have that need already met. So that's probably part of it.
Yeah, they're more likely to.
Yeah. Did that answer it?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you. Jo is muted, but I think she wants to ask a question.
Great.
Hold on.
No problem. This is real life.
So do you feel that these things turn the stereotype of males only want sex and it's only females that want to cuddle on its head? And would you qualify this as men getting in touch with their feminine side?
I absolutely have met so many amazing cuddly men that just love to cuddle that I can't even tell you. This is
I'd love to know what was in your head just then.
yeah, it's making me emotional. I just feel sad that that is the perception among men themselves even, that's the way it's supposed to be, that men just want sex and women are just like, no, just the cuddle. Um, my own personal experience, I've just met some very beautiful men that are my cuddly men, and they're amazing. And I feel so honored that I could create that space.
I really feel that.
Yeah, create that safe space so that they could really explore that part of themselves and realize that that is what it is, that it's not that it just means sex or that they only want sex or that's all they can want, that there's so much more that they can look for in a connection. And you know what? Also, the reverse is true. I love teaching women that it's okay to want sex. you know, and in cuddle work, we don't really talk about sex stuff a lot. But I do think that cuddling is sex positive because it's about finding pleasure in your body, releasing shame in yourself, and all of those things are sex positive. And um, I just feel like helping people realize all those things of like we don't have to fit the common narrative. We don't have to shoehorn ourselves into that. And when we don't, we can find such realness and such great connections um, yeah, and these men that are able to just step right into that and embrace the cuddling literally it's just wonderful to see how happy they are when they can see here's the boundaries and here's what you can ask for and they love it when people ask them. I'll tell you, they love it that they don't have to be the ones who are asking all the time. Yeah, I'm all about breaking stereotypes. I don't believe in stereotypes. Yeah, I just I could talk more about masculine and feminine. I definitely have some takes on that.
Maybe we'll do a special podcast just on that because it seems like there's a lot
that'd
there.
be awesome. There is a lot there. There really is actually. Yeah. You made me cry.
Okay.
Uh,
Let's move on to we heard you attended Cuddle Expo. What was that like? Did you give a presentation or did you participate?
yeah. In 2018, some of our Cuddle colleagues put on a conference for us, and it was amazing. Cuddle Expo in Chicago. And I'm probably going to miss somebody, but I know Faye Wyatt and Keely Shoup were integral, and Lisa Meese to getting that planned. And I'm sorry if I missed somebody who planned it. I'm sorry. But I know it was an amazing event. I loved it so much. And it actually was a struggle for me to get there, but I was like, I need to go. These are my colleagues and I fit there. So I actually did put in a presentation. I submitted a presentation on what is it? Reframing rejection. So, and it was accepted. So, and that was great because they waived my registration fee to be a presenter. So all I had to do was get there and then pay for the hotel. So it was an amazing deal. And they had presenters and activities every night. I got to meet some of the giants of the industry, Marsha Basinski, and I got, she hosted a cuddle party one night with everybody, with like 150 people. And the next night they hosted a cuddle sanctuary cuddle event with the buddy bench and the solo salon and everything, so we could see the difference of how people do things differently. And this is the thing I really love about this. They invited every flavor of cuddling, because it would have been so easy to be like, oh, this is just Cuddlist sponsoring this, or this is just Cuddle Sanctuary, or whatever. But they invited all the cuddlers, and they presented all the different ways that people do cuddling, and it was fantastic. And I got to meet Len Daly, who was the cuddle party trainer, and he actually died a few weeks later in a car crash. So I was so honored that I was able to meet him. He came to my presentation and he wanted me to sing for him. So I did.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was great. I picked a time when we were kind of all gathering and eating and in the main room waiting for stuff to start. And I just said, I'm ready. Let me sing for you. And he loved it. So that's one of my really good memories.
I heard that there was a giant cuddle puddle at the end. Were you in that? Did you hear about that? How was it?
I was there. I wasn't feeling like cuddling that night, but I was on the edge. I was watching. I was available, and yeah, I did participate in some of the other nights. But yeah, big cuddle puddles is always fun. I do have some pictures of me cuddling with a bunch of other people from the from the expo, and yeah, definitely. And it was lovely to see all the different ways, all the different flavors of cuddling, and to meet so many people that I am connected with now, for sure. I probably wouldn't be doing this podcast if I hadn't been there with the connections I had to come back to connect with you. That's when Lisa started the business of cuddling for the Facebook group for professional cuddlers. And yeah, it was amazing. And I want to do it again. And, I haven't really talked much about this, but I am doing what we're calling pro talks right now. And it's to get people to organize, to get together, to have an organization for professional cuddlers. And one of the drivers for that is I would love to do a conference, every other year, or every year if we could. And not have it be, all dependent on these people burning themselves out, because they put in a lot of effort and time and money, I'm sure, to do the Cuddle Expo, but it was so fantastic. I can't even tell you. So I'm very, very grateful that they did that, and I loved it.
I'm just curious, were the people from England there, the Nordic? Is there a UK, England-based?
I think they did try to invite everybody who could be invited. I don't remember specifically anyone from England. We did have people from Canada there. Other than that, it was I only recall United States Americans.
Gita's telling us it's called Nordic Cuddle, and someone named Rebecca is the creator. I don't know about Nordic Cuddle, so maybe Joe, you know about that? Okay. Cool.
Yeah, one of my clients is went there when he was in the UK a couple of years ago. He actually went to Nordic Cuddle, and it's very, very different. Very interesting hearing about that experience, because they're in pods, apparently.
Oh, Gita, you're saying you were there too? That's amazing. He says yes. I'm so jealous.
Yeah. Awesome. I mean, I want to have international connections. I really do. So that's why I'm excited you're here with us, Joe, today, from Australia. That's amazing. And I want to keep doing that. I want to have, global connections in our cuddle community. And yeah.
So, similar to Joe, but not quite, because you're your own person. You have said that you're not a gamer nerd, you're a gamer adjacent, but you've played some games. So what are your favorites, and what would you like to see more of in video games? Or maybe like, what is it about video games where if something shifted, like you would be all over that?
Yeah, part of it is because I won't allow myself because I know that I would be very vulnerable to the time suck of it if I really got into gaming.
I
Um,
hear that.
yeah, I've played Guild Wars 2, which if you guys heard a few guests ago, we had Alyssa Powers. That's her game. She's one of my really good friends, so she talked me into doing it. So I have played that. I've actually been playing it recently because we interviewed her a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I should play that again. That's all right. So I have been playing it, but it gets kind of old because they just want you to shoot this stuff and kill things, and I'm just like, oh, that's no fun. I like puzzles. So I like to do puzzle kind of games. I don't know if you guys have heard of bigfish.com. It's a game selling site.
Let me look it up. That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
But our very first podcast guest, Garvin, is also into puzzles.
Oh, okay.
So, and I am as well. That's why I really
Mhm.
like Little Big Planet. So,
Oh, yeah. So I like the ones that have a lot of puzzle adventure with a storyline. And I enjoy, I've done all the little Nancy Drew games, and I know that they're probably target audience to tweeners, but I like them. They're fun. I mean, and the good thing about them is I can turn it off any minute and then come back. So it's not like when you're on a raid or something and you got to wear a diaper, plan ahead. So
oh
I'm
my
not that
gosh.
invested, but
Okay, so
like,
I've looked up
anyway.
Big Fish Games.
Mhm.
This looks like a great resource for puzzle games for anyone
Yeah.
listening who is looking for puzzle games and doesn't already know about Big Fish.
Yeah, so Big Fish is great. It's downloadable game, so it's not, online multiplayer or anything like that. It's
It's single
one
player.
player, it's single player, you buy it, you download it, you play it. Um, the one thing I wish I could do is find the puzzle games that don't have the hidden object scenes in them because I cannot stand hidden object scenes. And a lot of them a lot of them do, and a lot of them are just hidden object games, and I'm like, you know what? I gotta wear reader glasses now, and it's just not fun for me. So, because hidden object is where you just have to look through like a big pile of junk and find the
Oof.
sunglasses and the dog and the keychain or whatever, and I'm just like, this is not fun.
Like a Where's Waldo book.
Yeah, exactly. So if you like that kind of thing, you can find lots of them on Big Fish.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, yeah. But
Um,
I like the ones where you go into a scene, you have to figure something out, you talk to somebody, get a clue, and you go to the next scene, and those are fun
mhm.
for me.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a ton of games like that. And yeah, they are mostly single player.
yeah.
I know when I mean pre-pandemic, when my boyfriend and I would have friends over every Saturday, like often we'd play those games and like we just do a timer and switch off who plays for, 5 or 10 minutes or whatever.
Oh, fun.
So they are possible to play with multiple people. It's just
They
not designed
are.
that way.
My dad and my sister like to sit down together and do them together.
Oh,
So
that's
that's
nice.
like their time together to play through the game with each other, which is really sweet to watch them doing that.
Mm.
My grown-up sister, obviously, because she's not a child anymore. But yeah, it's great. So I like those kind of games, and I do have a lot of friends that are gamers, so I hear things about them. That's how I knew about the Twitch stream, because I have a friend who I can't even remember what game he plays, but he is a Twitch streamer.
Okay.
And
Well, does he
yeah,
know about Nurtured Nerds?
he does. I've invited
Yay.
him actually, so I'm hoping he'll come and be interviewed at some point. But I will let you know. But I'm working on it
Okay,
because
great.
he's got a good topic besides the gaming that I'd really love to cover. But I
Oh,
will.
okay.
I'll let you know later.
No spoilers. Shh.
No spoilers. No spoilers. And I actually have another friend that is also a gamer, but he's a therapist, and I'm really hoping he'll come on because I would love to talk to him about it. But he was trying to get me to come to Dungeons and Dragons for months, and I kept saying, "Oh, please keep inviting me. I love that I'm getting invited, but I can't come right now." So he stopped inviting me. No, I mean, no
No
surprise,
surprise. Yeah.
unfortunately. And I really did think I would like to go sometime, but it just never seemed to work out. So anyway,
Wasn't meant to
hopefully
be.
hopefully he'll come on too, and we can talk about that. And
Well,
I've
aside
also,
from nose gamers,
yeah.
like, would you say shows like The Guild are accurate in depicting that culture? And do you have a favorite episode of that show? I don't know if you've seen it. Have you?
I have. I love the
Okay.
Guild. Yeah, I know. We were talking about one of our other guests knew Vork, the actor who played Vork. So that's why we were talking about it in the past. And I was like, ooh, that's like 2 Kevin Bacons away from Felicia Day for me now. That's awesome.
2 Kevin Bacons.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I love the Guild. I have watched it. I do think a lot of it is reality, does portray reality in some flavor. Of course, it's a show. Felicia Day wrote it, and she's amazing. She's so funny. But I think there was a lot of good stuff in there that can relate to real life. I love how real Felicia was in her as I guess Sid was her character name. I had to look it up because it's been a while since I watched him. But and I love Zabu. He seems very realistic to me, honestly. Just showing up at her door and saying I love you. So you got to separate the game from real life. But, and my favorite was when they were at the convention and they went to the after party with all the stars. And of course Felicia knows so many people. She got a lot of great stars to do cameos, and they're at this big fancy after party at this big convention, Comic-Con, and the guys are sitting around talking about like doing laundry and stuff, and and it was Zachary Levi, I think, was saying something like, yeah, I gotta get my pool clean, and it's
Zachary
getting late, I better
Levi.
go home. Yeah.
He's awesome.
He is awesome. I love him.
I love him and Chuck, but he's done so many
Yes.
other great things since then. He was even in Heroes, the show Heroes.
Oh,
which
was
is
he? I
crazy,
haven't
yeah.
seen that recently. I only saw like the first 2 seasons.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I just loved that she was trying to show that these stars are people. They're just people. They have all the same things as other people. you know. So I thought that was great. That was a great moment when they're just all talking about inconsequential stuff, and the guildies were trying to be all cool and fit in. No, they're all nerds. All the stars are nerds.
Awesome.
Do you have a favorite? Do you guys have a favorite from that show? Have you seen it, Jo?
No.
I think I've seen maybe one episode one time, but I don't know enough about it to really speak to any of it. But this is making me want to watch it. So
I highly
I'm like
recommend
looking
it.
it up right now.
Yes, it's on YouTube.
It's like you're talking another language. I have no idea what you're talking about, and I love it. And I love it.
I love that. Yeah.
It's on YouTube. Yeah, look it up. I love when Will Wheaton comes in as the nemesis of the alternate guild, and
I clicked on the video and it says it's private.
Oh no.
Will Wheaton. God, I remember him from Stand By Me.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
He's great, and he plays this really nasty villain in this that ends up hooking up with Felicia's character. There's like a whole big side plot about that. And their guilds are fighting in the game, but also in real life. So, anyway, this is making me laugh, obviously. So, this is a great plot. It's a great storyline.
Well, we can have a change of theme here. I'd like to ask about bird watching. So a little bird talk to a bird watcher. What's it like being a bird nerd? Do you have a favorite bird?
I do actually. I should have got my picture down. Maybe I can show you. It's up on the wall back there. But in bird watching, people have a hook bird, which is usually the bird they see that gets them into wanting to do bird watching. And my hook bird is a house finch because it's a little sparrow bird, and it's it's got a brown back, but it's got a red breast, like really bright red, like not orange red like a robin, but very bright red. I don't know if you guys have ever seen them. There isn't one in here, but I saw one on my fence in winter, and I was like, oh, that's a really cute little bird. What is that? It's red.
Oh. Are they native to America?
Yes, house finch. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, you guys have amazing birds and animals in Australia, right?
Kookaburra here is insane. Oh, I love the kookaburra.
What was that bird you said was like attacking you?
Oh, the magpies. Yeah,
magpies.
They attack you and die from you. No, kookaburra was nice.
But every year in Salt Lake, we have the Great Salt Lake Bird Festival. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm holding up the program. And this year, our star bird is the yellow-headed blackbird, which is on the cover here, if you can see it. But we get the yellow-headed blackbirds out by the Great Salt Lake because they like the water. And they're beautiful birds, actually. And I was going to share my nerdy thing because it relates to bird watching, so I did bring a nerdy thing.
Ooh.
This is my bird scope. It's a monoscope. It's actually a rifle sight. But I love it because when I was trying to work with binoculars, I could never like get the eye pieces. I'm putting my hands up and down right now because the eye pieces are independent in binoculars. Plus they're so heavy, and then you have to adjust the focus of each eye separately, and I never could. So I hated binoculars. So I got a monoscope, and it costs like a third of the cost of binoculars, and it actually sees farther. Yeah, so it's so much easier to just hold this up, and I can adjust it with one finger right there at the top, and it's just so. I love this. I got it at the gun shop, and I just
the gun shop.
Yeah. Yep. We have a gun store.
A cuddler walks into a gun shop. That sounds like just set up to a good joke.
There you go. It should be, right? It totally should be. Yeah, I felt really out of place, but this was like one of the best buys ever to see things far away. I love it. Anyway, there's my nerdy thing for today.
Yes, the nerdy thing of the episode.
But yeah, bird watching, I wanted to get into it because it's fun. It's fun to see the birds, and it gave me an excuse to be outside and walking around, and I need that. So yeah, I would not say I'm hardcore, but I do go to the bird festival every year, and usually we have field trips with buses full of bird watchers, and everybody will be like, "Oh, there's a meadowlark," and you'll see, and everybody's head will flow over there. They're like, "Oh wait, no, there's an owl." Oh, it's like
as long as none of you is the one driving the bus.
Yeah, fortunately the bus driver was not one of us, so
kind of necessary, I think.
Right, exactly. But it's a lot of fun.
And also, a little bird told me you've written a book. Wow. I didn't know. The Art of Authenticity, How to Be You. Sounds amazing. Can you tell us?
Thank you.
Oh, and that's one of the items in the care package for our member raffle. Spoiler, but
yes. So I self-published a book. It's called The Art of Authenticity. And I am putting a PDF copy in the care package if you win the raffle. And I just felt like, I was doing all this work with Cuddle Party, and we're trying to teach people like how to use your voice, how to tell people what you want, how to be confident in yourself. And I thought, well, wait, there's something missing here, because before you can do all of that, you have to know who you are. You have to have the foundation there to figure, that you can build off of, right? Before you can be confident, before you can tell people what you want, you have to know what you want. And so I felt like there was something missing, and so I had some articles written already, but I started to write a bunch of essays, and I just felt like we need to talk about like what assumptions are in our in our culture that don't serve us anymore, And I do say this in the book, but one of my big journey was sexual freedom. I realized when I was older than 40 that, hopefully you guys don't think this is too much information, but I like sex. And it took me, that long to figure that out. I know.
How dare you like to feel pleasure in your body?
I know. I mean, really. And I love cuddling too. Of course, they're separate, but I mean, and they can go together too, but I'm professional. And then this is why I like to try to, it's still sensitive, even though I've been down this road for 6 or 7 years now, to be able to say, yes, I am a professional cuddler, and I teach all these things about connection without sex, but you know what? Sex is good. It's great. We're just not talking about it right now, but let's talk about it right now. So anyway, it took me that long to realize that was who I was and how I like to connect with my intimate friends, and I love having that option with people, and that it works with, and that was my journey of like, I needed to break through that programming of like, I'm not married and I can still like that, and that's my personality. But there are those things that we were taught when we were 5, 12, whatever, and we think that it's forever, and it's not, because we change, we evolve, and we have to evaluate, these things that we think are givens, and we're like, oh, that's a given. Well, is it? You need to consciously choose it, right? So that's the first part of the book, of like, look at those assumptions, look at those teachings, and decide like what are the values that you want to build on. And yeah, and then I talk about a whole bunch of other random things about being confident and figuring out who you are, and so that's why it's called How to Be You.
Well, I say we should, for our next raid, like that should be your book. Like this sounds like a really great resource, and I'd love to have like a little Nurture Nerds book club where we all like read it together and share it and everything.
I'd love to. I love talking about this stuff. That's why I wrote about it. So yeah, absolutely. That'd be an awesome raid. I'd love to do like a book club.
Okay, great. Oh, something that you brought up in a previous podcast that I wanted to talk more about was that you shared your opinion that physical distance doesn't need to mean social distancing. Physical distancing is not doesn't have to be the same as social distancing. So what do you have to say about that? About how people can make new friends or have dates or maintain current relationships, find new relationships safely during the pandemic?
Yeah, when they first came out and were saying social distance, I was like, no, do not social distance. Do not, please do not. We can physical distance, but we must concentrate more on social connection in this time when we have to be physically distant, you know. It's more important than ever, and I do think that is one of the good things that's coming out of this time, is that people are realizing that a lot more, how important it is to be socially connected, and there are lots of ways you can connect socially while being physically distanced with people, you know, to your comfort level. With your exposure risks right now, everybody has to decide what their comfort level is of how close they can be. But I know a lot of people did, like, we did little meetups in the park of like 5 or 6 people, and we wore masks and we sat 6 feet away, and then we took our masks off and we could talk. And it was great. And then we do the virtual events. I did a lot of Zoom calls with my friends just to chat. I did tarot readings online. I did, you know, there's so many things we can do. And you know, I tried to call people and talk to them. I was like, during this time of physical distancing, we need to really concentrate on more social connection, because it's not organic like it was before, right?
Yeah, it's a lot more of a, well, I mean, I think even before it was this way, but even more so now, it's like you have to put forth a lot more intention to keep those connections going, to meet new people. Honestly, I feel like I've met more new people since the pandemic than I did before. I think because virtual events allow people from so many different places to come together.
Yes,
So.
very true. Very true.
Well, I'd like to ask, do you have anything that you'd like to say to those out there considering booking a session with a professional cuddler or attending a virtual or in-person event? Like, what kind of advice would you give them?
Well, I would say contact the facilitator, contact the cuddler, and just ask your questions, you know, get to know them a little bit, get comfortable with whatever their intake process is. The thing with cuddling is that you never have to do anything you don't want to do. That is one of the rules. And if you're uncomfortable and it's not working, they're not going to make you do anything. You know, that's what we're learning. And you know, we call it cuddling, but to me, the bigger picture is the communication that we teach, and the cuddling is the way that we practice it. And of course, yes, I love the touch, but the main message is, how do you negotiate the touch? How do you negotiate the relationship so that it works for both of you and feels good for both of you? And with a cuddler, you're practicing that, and in a group event, you're practicing that with, you know, with stuff that isn't a big deal, like, will you marry me? It's more like, oh, will you hold my hand? And then hopefully you won't be crushed if someone says no. You can ask somebody else, you know, or can I have a hug? And we can practice those tools of negotiation and exchange with each other, working out our agreements and expectations up front. That is the real message of cuddling, I have to tell you. It's not, I think people get confused too, like, because it is called cuddling, is like, oh, that's just only about touch. I mean, it is about touch, and touch is very important, but in order to have the touch in the way that it's going to give you all the benefits that it can, you must do those communication pieces. And you can use the communication education in every other part of your life anytime you're working with any other person.
Agreed. It's
Yeah.
so valuable.
So valuable. That's the piece I love, and we can do that virtually. It's a little harder. It's easier to demonstrate with touch, but you know, we can teach the bigger picture without touch. It still works. So
Okay. So I think Jo has somewhere she needs to go.
oh
And so I want to let her go. And Jo, I want to thank you so much for being with us. We would love to have you back on the podcast as an
yeah.
interviewee
I was gonna
or,
say you need to
a
be an
secondary
interviewee
guest.
so
Like,
that we can hear about you. 'Cause now I've been talking the whole time.
It's been a pleasure, but yeah, my boundary is that I need to jump off now.
Okay.
Thank you for taking
So
care of
excited.
yourself.
It's so exciting to just be able to say, I need to go.
It's totally fine. Yeah.
Just to go. But thank you so much. Loved hearing about you.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, you've warmed my heart so much, Mary.
Oh,
Really have
oh,
my heart listening to you because I've never met you before. So
yeah.
this is fantastic. Thank you. And thank you, Melissa.
You are so welcome, Jo. I'm glad you could be here.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a
Bye.
great day, Jo. She's just starting out her day.
Yep.
15 hours ahead of us. Well, 14 ahead of Mary. Bye, Jo.
Bye.
Okay, so it's just our
It's
standard
us.
last question. How do you feel
Okay.
after doing this interview? And you're welcome to stay for the rest of the podcast. Please don't leave me alone.
Oh, good. Yeah, I can stay. I can stay. It's all right. I'm feeling I want to, there's been things I wanted to say, so I'm really excited that you guys listened to my request, and because I look forward to interviewing Alyssa too, because I want to hear more from her on the podcast. And as a co-host, I it probably didn't sound like it because I do talk a lot, but I was trying to give the guests, the pride of place usually. So it's been lovely to really talk about my work and share that with you guys. And I really appreciate the opportunity to do that. So thank you.
I really appreciate it too. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for suggesting that we interview each other. Yeah, we got some good stuff to say. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm honored to be here with you and
Hmm.
receive what you have to share and get to know you more. And
Thank you.
yeah, it just makes me even more excited to keep working together and to
Good.
read your book because I have not read it yet. It's been on my wish list, but I'm gonna get it today because I really want to read it after hearing more about it. So
Nice. And the best way to get it, if you want to pay for it, is direct from me. I can mail it to
oh,
you.
okay. I was
It's
gonna go on
it's
Amazon, but now that I know that, I will get it directly from you.
you can get it on Amazon if you want to, but I will get more money if you buy it from me.
Yeah, I want to do it that
So,
way because I want you
yeah.
to get all the money.
And for people who can't afford $20, or don't want to, I get it, and I just want to have it out there. I do have a PDF version I can send, or talk to me. I'm always open. Tell me your story, and I'd rather have the stuff out there. It's not about the money, as I said. So,
Okay,
but
so
yeah, if you
is
want it, you
your
can email me marycuddler@gmail.com with your address, and my Venmo is just Mary Cuddler with no spaces, so you can Venmo or send a check or something, and that would be great.
exactly what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
And you are also on the practitioners and events page. Your info
Mhm.
is on there on the nurturednerds.com website. So
Yeah.
yeah, and we'll put it in the description too, all the info that anyone needs to
Great.
contact you. So yay.
Yeah. Yay. Thanks. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can mail you out a copy if you like paper books. I always like paper books better than online books. I don't know.
Yeah. Better than electronic. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I have about 6 books and 2 notebooks sitting on my desk right now. And I'm like, I wish I had a bookshelf. I haven't had a bookshelf in so long.
Oh, yeah, you need a bookshelf.
Because I really like paper as
Mhm.
well. Like I like the physical book. So some books it's
Yes.
not as necessary. But Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
to
I would say
see.
I am. Yeah, when we're talking about what kind of nerd, I am a book nerd. I like reading paper books, definitely.
Mm.
So it's just a different experience from an audiobook or reading it online. You got to have it
I
like falling on your face. You know, people aren't going to know what that is. They'll be like,
yeah, it's like Fahrenheit 451. There's no books anymore. And
"Hmm,
have you read that?
I
That's
have. That would be very sad. I do not
it
want
would.
that."
Yeah. Ooh. Um,
Mm,
I am trying to think of a nerdy thing, or I have been, and I realized
mm.
that you know what I want to say that the nerdy thing of the episode is that we started a weekly hangout called Nerd Break.
Yay.
It's about 30 minutes to an hour. We had the first
Mhm.
one last night
Yeah. How'd it go?
with Gita and Garvin. It was nice. Gita's
Mhm.
internet was acting up, so we just rolled with it.
Okay.
And yeah, we're gonna keep having them for now at least, every Saturday at 6:15 Pacific.
It's
And
just kind of a hangout time to get together and chat.
yeah, we'll do paired sharing in breakout rooms. Each person gets about 5 minutes to just share. Maybe it's
Mm.
something like that you've gotten out of the content of the raid, out of JPYR or whatever the raid is in the future. Mary's book, hopefully, and then you get feedback for a couple minutes. So
Mhm.
that's really what it's about. It's like you get 5 minutes where you get to talk and the other person just listens to you.
Mm.
Or if you're kind of pausing and you're stuck, they'll just say, what's that like for you? But nothing else, like
Yeah.
no interjecting. You get to be listened to, and then the other
Mm.
person gets to be listened to by you. And then you give each other feedback for a couple of minutes after that other person
Nice.
shares. And then so we do that, we connect, and then we just play some games together. What seemed the easiest so far for me to stream is Jackbox. I have
Mm.
well, Paul, my boyfriend, and I, we have all of them on Steam. So there's just so many games to choose from. And I thought about doing Scribble.io and Spyfall, but those ones you can't really stream. Well, you can't screen share because
Mm.
the other people you're playing with aren't supposed to be able to see what you see on the screen. So, but yeah, let us know in the comments if you have a game that you would like to try at a future nerd break. And please join us.
Yeah.
Like, we'll keep creating a post in the Facebook forum community page and the subreddit. We'll keep creating a post every time and just comment, say I'd like to go, and I'll get in touch with you and send you the Zoom information for that meeting
Mm.
directly, just to keep it secure so we know
Mhm.
everyone who's going to show up.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah. Nice. I
so
love
that's
that.
the nerdy thing I wanted to share. I'm really excited about it. Just
Mm.
creating more hangouts for people, and hopefully
Mhm.
we'll have a second one hosted by someone else, or it might be rotating host, a different day of the week, like maybe during the week and
Mhm.
earlier in the day, and just give people more options if they're not
Mm.
available on a Saturday night Pacific. So
Mm.
yeah.
Cool.
Do you have
I
another nerdy thing or something else you want to share?
I just thought of a really great idea for a future podcast where we can just do Ask a Cuddler. And anybody from our Nurtured Nerds could come on to our Zoom and ask us their questions and we could just answer them in a podcast. That would be
Yeah.
really, really neat.
Ooh, we could have a podcast that is all the questions are taken from the forums. Like we create threads in the forums and
Mm,
say, what question would you want to ask a cuddler? Now, that kind of defeats the purpose of one of our care package items, which is you get to submit a question for an interview. But the
mm,
difference, though, for anyone who's worried about that, is that if you win the raffle and get the care package, it's guaranteed. Like if you ask a question and we're like, that's not appropriate, or we don't want to talk about that, or we've talked about that a lot, like we'll just say, come up with another one. And we'll work together and
mm.
find a question that you're interested in hearing the answer to.
Yeah.
Whereas if we're taking them from the forums, we might not pick every question. So there's no guarantee that your
Mm,
question will get on. But this is a guarantee, at least one question of yours will be on the podcast. So
yeah.
that's the difference there. Yeah.
I think it would be really cool. And we haven't really talked about this, so they might not agree with me. But if we actually had the asker in the Zoom with us to ask it themselves, I think that would
Oh,
be awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm open to having that be an option. If the
Yeah.
person who wins the raffle wants to be on the
If they want
podcast,
to. Yeah, of
that could be
course.
another option as well. Is like
Yeah.
you could be the interviewee. Like if you
Sure.
want to be and you feel like you have things to share, like that could be
Mhm.
something. Or we could do like team interviews of just cuddle
Yeah.
enthusiasts.
Yeah.
You know, like 3 people. If one
Mhm.
person doesn't have anything to say about a question, I don't know.
So many options, so many
We'll keep
things we could do.
brainstorming. And you know, again in the comments, let us know
Yeah,
what you
let
think
us
about any of
know.
these
Does
ideas or what your ideas are. So it's a
any of that
co-creation.
any of that sound fun to you? Let us know so we can do it.
Cool.
Nice.
So let's move on to cuddle of the episode, if you're okay with that, Mary.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So the position of the episode is called Tetris. And I'll just give a quick description before I do my little demo with the love monkeys I have. So basically there's one tetromino that looks a bit like a Z. Oh, there's another one that's like the mirror image of it. Not quite like a Z because the middle part is, you know,
Yeah.
vertical
Straight-
rather than
straight down.
slanted. And
Yeah.
but basically that's what you're doing with your bodies. So one person is kind of like leaning against a wall. They're like leaning back, but they have their legs bent. So basically their legs are at almost a right angle. And then the other person has the same position, but they are laying on their side. So it's almost a bit like koala. But you take the person that's laying on their side, they take their knees and they slide them under, they slide their legs and their knees under the legs of the other person.
Right. So
So
you're
you fit together like 2 tetrominos.
Yeah, so the top person has their thighs vertical and then their calves will be parallel to the floor on top of the other person's legs. Yeah, I
or
love
it
that
might be more
position.
like steepled, you know, like 10.
Or hanging over. Yeah,
It's
that works
however
too.
you're comfortable. That's what's great about
Yeah.
cuddling. Like you can change it up a bit for what feels good to you.
Yeah, and I've done it where like one leg up and one leg down. And yeah, there's some, that's a great position.
Okay, I'm gonna take off my background so you can see everything okay.
I was gonna say, is your shirt a nerd thing? Because you're showing us your shirt now.
It does seem kind of it's cuddly. Keep calm and hang on.
Yeah.
It's a shirt my mom and stepdad got for me when they visited the sloth sanctuary in Costa Rica.
Oh,
And
nice.
I really like this shirt. Paul's
Yeah.
favorite animal is the sloth, so
Cool.
that's cool.
There's a
And
cute little sloth hanging on to the word hang on at the on our shirt.
yes,
So.
there is. He's hanging onto the O.
Yep.
All right, here's my monkeys.
Okay.
I love monkeys. So all right, let's do this. So one person, pretend that this is a wall. My arm is a wall.
I usually lay down flat when I do it.
You lay down like this and then you just have your legs up like that?
Yeah, and just have your legs up.
That's more like koala. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's like koala, huh?
I'm thinking of the Cuddle Sanctuary photo where they're like leaning against the wall with a pillow and they have their legs like this. And the other person, you come in on your side. Oh, they're holding hands. All right. So you come in and you're like this, like you're sideways. And
but
then
still like sitting up against the wall?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then you slide your legs underneath. So this person has their legs up. And you slide your legs underneath.
Okay.
And it's a little bit hard to show it because these guys, like their legs are just floppy, like they don't stay bent. But
I don't think I've done that sitting up. That's a position I haven't done. I've only done it laying down with the legs.
Let me like try to do this like with it laying
so
down.
Yeah, so the one that has their legs underneath would have
It's
their
a
head
little more
on your
like
shoulder.
A koala. It's like a koala.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so you have your legs bent and you slide them underneath.
Yeah.
And hugs.
Yeah.
And hugs.
Then you can.
They look like they're kissing, but they're not. Because this is a G-rated cuddle, and there's no kissing in G-rated unless you're married. All right.
I actually don't ban kissing at my cuddle parties, but I do ban making out. So.
Oh, okay.
Like just kissing is okay with me.
Making out
as a
leads to
facilitator,
arousal.
but making out, it leads to arousal. So there's a difference. But every facilitator has to figure that out. So what they're comfortable with. I haven't had an issue with it yet. So knock on wood.
Yeah.
I know a lot of facilitators are like, absolutely no kissing. Don't get the lips anywhere near anything, like not even kiss on the forehead. I'm like, okay, I just did big eyes because that scares me. Like if people want to kiss, especially like cute kisses on the forehead or the cheek, I'm like, and they're both a yes to it. I'm like, I think that's sweet.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Pre-pandemic, it was a little more innocent and like safe, but now I
Right.
feel like maybe
Not
it's not
now.
the best idea right now, but
Yeah.
yeah, I totally agree with you. Kisses, like platonic, just affectionate kisses on like the forehead or the cheek can be really nice. I had a boundary pusher client once who kept trying to kiss me on my neck, and that
Oh
was a
yeah.
little uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, in a cuddle session, no
Yeah.
kissing.
Yeah.
But at a cuddle party, they can kiss. But yeah, as in a session as a professional cuddler, no kissing. But anyway, yeah, it is uncomfortable. I agree with that.
All right, so I guess all we have left is our promos.
Oh, we should say something else nicer though. What else?
Oh yeah, okay. So
oh wait, you know what? I did a teaser was it last episode or the one before? Anyway, I wanted to share a group position.
Oh yeah, please tell us
yeah.
about this position.
So this is one of my favorite group cuddle positions that I always forget for some reason, but it's the stomach jiggle. And you put your head on a person's stomach, and then another person puts their head on your stomach, and then you make, you have people on
It's
both
in the
sides.
book of cuddles, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the book of cuddles, and then you laugh.
Yeah.
And it pops your head up and down, and everybody's laughing, and it works better with more people.
I
It's
love that
so
position.
funny.
So
yes.
I think it was Grace's last in-person session before the pandemic. I tried to get everyone to do that, and everyone was a yes to trying it. But I felt like nobody else enjoyed it.
Oh.
But I really enjoyed it. It's really fun.
It's so fun, and
Yeah.
you're just feeling the other person laughing with their stomach
It's
moving.
contagious. It
It's
makes you
totally
start
contagious.
laughing when your head's like bobbing up and down on their stomach.
Right. And then you just feel how stupid it is that someone else's head is bobbing on your stomach. Yeah. Then you laugh more. So, yep. Group cuddle positions. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, Alyssa, you want to give us the promos?
Yeah. So as always, please visit our website at nurturednerds.com. And you'll find everything you need there. We have links to our Facebook subreddit, YouTube channel, events, practitioners, membership form, the community guidelines, just really anything that you could want having to do with the project. You can get there through the website. And there's what else? So that document that has the community guidelines, it has other just general project information, just like a quick explanation of like, this is what the project is, this is how you can get involved, this is how you can interact and connect with people through the project, or this is how you can contribute. And yeah, it's just a really easy way to get familiar with our community, to feel out whether you think you're a good fit or not, and to just share with anyone that you think might be interested, even if you find that it's not for you. It's a great little document, and yeah.
Good.
Like I said, our subreddit, our Facebook. On Facebook, we have a project page and a community group page. And yeah, on both of them, kind of we announce what's going on with the project. Although the group page is more for you guys to interact with us, ask questions you want, or we'll like post threads and you can respond and share just what comes up for you in that question or that topic or whatever. And yeah, I posted one, I think it was yesterday, the day before. It was, if cuddling were an Olympic sport, what events would you want to see, or would you think would be in the Olympics for that sport? What would that look like? So it's kind of a fun one. Yeah, you can join the membership and comment on those, or just comment below on this video, like what you think would be in the the Cuddle Olympics or the Cuddle Olympics. In the Olympics for the sport of cuddling. For the one I put was a cuddle-thon. So it's like 26 straight hours of cuddling. Instead of 26 miles, it's 26 hours of cuddling, and you have to maintain contact the whole time. And then, you know, there could be alternates that like switch out, and the judges would have to switch out too. But anyway, our current rate is at cassandrabrown.org. Jerk-proof your relationships. Yeah, it's really great content. Cassandra, there's just a ton of value. You get one-on-one time with her. There's weekly calls to connect about the content. And we'll be doing it together as a community.
That sharing time exercise you're talking about, that sounds like right out of her content. So like,
yeah,
that's great. You got to put it into practice. And
yeah, exactly. It gives you a chance to put into practice what you learn in the modules. I'm creating my individual practitioner website very soon. I own the domain already, but I haven't added anything to the website. But the IRLsupportmain.com. I could not have that email address in Gmail, I think because it has the word support in it. So my Gmail address for that will be, it's looking like it'll be theguardianofcuddletopia@gmail.com. So I got to reserve that now. I've told everybody, so I don't want
you've
anyone
told
to steal
everyone, yeah, you better go reserve
it. Watch me do it and it's like not available anymore. No, I don't know.
I'm gonna go take it right now. No, I won't. I would not do that to you.
Yeah. But that's what my session space is called. It's called Cuddletopia. So
great.
So the Guardian of Cuddletopia. So
awesome.
Yeah. And I will be creating a Discord server and a Twitch stream soon for Nurtured Nerds. So
cool.
Let us know what kind of channels you'd want on the server. Let us know like what games you want us to stream.
If you guys want to see my super geeky, like little silly tweener games, I'd be happy to Twitch those.
That would be so fun. And finally gonna reveal everything in the raffle care package. Again, like all you have to do to enter is just become a member. So just submit the membership application. As long as you submit it by May 28th, you'll be in the running. Even if you haven't gotten to your application yet.
Yeah, so everybody who submits by May 28th will be in for this raffle.
Yep.
And then hopefully we'll be doing future raffles as well for future people.
Yeah, we're planning on every 2 months for now. Could go monthly in the future. Also in the future, once we have premium membership, we might have a premium care package. It's even more awesome than the free one.
I don't know. This one seems pretty awesome. Tell us what's in it again.
Yeah, a free 30-minute virtual session with a professional cuddler. You still have to do their intake and their screening process with them to make sure you're a good fit. But you're guaranteed like there will be a cuddler who will be willing to have a session with you as long as you're being respectful. We'll find someone for you. And Mary's book, an electronic version of that. Awesome, so good. A $20 Steam gift card to go towards a game you want, or maybe even to fully cover it. Games go on sale there all the time for ridiculously low prices. And I mentioned this before, you can submit a question to be asked on an upcoming podcast episode, and a discount for the current raid for Jerk-proof your relationships. I have not ironed out the details with Cassandra quite yet about exactly how much of a discount, but she has said yes to that being in the care package. And she's willing to work with everyone. Like she wants this content, but she wants you to invest in yourself. She wants people who are willing to invest in themselves, and she knows her worth. And it's like, it's just this it's really a treasure trove. And yeah, so like whatever you need to do to afford it, she'll work with you. Like she wants people to get this content. So yeah, that's everything in the care package for this time anyway.
That's fabulous.
Yeah. Are we feeling nurtured?
Yeah, definitely.
It's another longish one, not quite as long, but congrats
There's
if you got all
so
the way
much
through
to
it.
talk about.
There is.
I could talk for days.
All right. Yeah. So thank you again so much to Jo for co-hosting this episode with me. And hopefully we'll see her for an interview in an upcoming podcast.
That would be great.
Yeah, we're honored to have you. And Crystal, we love you. Crystal was a previous interview in a podcast episode. She's a member of our Nurtured Nerds project team. She's just a hero, a wonderful gamer nerd and cuddler and just human being, and we love her so much.
She was going to be the co-host tonight, but then she couldn't make it, I guess.
Yeah. That's, it's not just random. That's why I'm bringing up Crystal. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully next time Crystal will be the one co-hosting with me. If not, maybe another future podcast. But we love you, Crystal, and yeah, we hope to connect with you again very soon.
Yeah, it'll be fun to have some different co-hosts and things like that to switch it up.
And hopefully she'll do a few, gaming streams for the Nurtured Nerds Twitch channel. And
that'll be fun.
Yeah. And just a reminder, the same old, and every YouTuber says, please like and subscribe and comment and join our membership. Like, really, it's free. You've got nothing to lose. Like, we want you in here. There's like, the only bar is like, are you going to respect other people and yourself or not? And as long as you are, like, you're welcome. Anybody. You don't have to be a gamer nerd. Like I say, everyone's a nerd about something, and we all need nurturing.
Yes. Love that.
All right, so let's give ourselves some hugs.
Ooh.
Make sure to give yourself all the love and the good feelings that you give when you hug other people. Give it to yourself.
That's right.
And please join us for the next episode. So yummy.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.